Lovely afternoon, and thanks for joining us on the news at noon on 24 News Radio and Television. My name is Grace Nwafo. The president of the Nigerian Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has dismissed claims circulating in sections of social media that the National Assembly has approved the creation of new states. Speaking during plenary in response to concerns raised by Senator Abdul Ningi, Akpabio clarified that although the Constitution Review Committee has received over 42 proposals for state creation, none have passed through the full legislative process. He warned communities against organizing meetings or mobilization efforts over proposed states that have not been legally established, stressing that no new state has been approved by the Senate. Akpabio further urged Nigerians to rely only on official statements from the National Assembly concerning constitution amendment and related issues. The federal government has unveiled plans to cultivate 1 million hectares of farmland and produce 460,000 metric tons of soybeans within 2 years as part of a broader strategy to boost food security, reduce import dependence, and position Nigeria as a key player in the global soybean market. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kairi, announced this at a launch of the National Soybean Production Expansion Policy and Strategy. He noted that it is more than a policy as it is about planting the seeds of a food secure and globally competitive Nigeria. The minister added that despite producing about 1.35 million metric tons of soybeans annually, Nigerians' demand has surged beyond 2.7 million metric tons, driven by the expanding food, feed, and industrial sectors. This shortfall, he noted, represents both a challenge and a significant opportunity. On his part, Benue State Governor Hyacinth Alia, who also spoke at the event, described the policy launch as not merely to inaugurate a policy, but to ignite a national transformation that promises prosperity, resilience, and hope for millions. The Dangote Petroleum Refinery has begun exporting premium motor spirit, selling approximately 1.35 billion liters of petrol to other countries worldwide in the past 50 days. This was made known by the president of the Dangote Group, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, at the ongoing Global Commodity Insight Conference on West African Refined Fuel Market, hosted by the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority in partnership with S&P Global Insight. According to Dangote, the refinery exported up to 1 million tons of petrol, approximately 1.35 billion liters, between June and July 2025. However, despite the Dangote refinery's export drive, Nigeria still relies heavily on fuel imports. According to the NMDPRA, Nigeria and other Western African countries will still import nearly 69% of their gasoline supply from overseas markets. A former Jigawa State Governor, Alhaji Sule Lamido, has declared his willingness to support any political arrangement within or outside the People's Democratic Party that will ensure Nigeria's security and stability ahead of the 2027 general elections. Lamido stated this while speaking with journalists in Kano. Lamido, a former minister of foreign affairs, stated that contrary to recent speculations that he might decamp to the ADC, he remains in the PDP. He noted that the PDP had honored him with key positions, including Minister of Foreign Affairs and Governor of Jigawa State. Reacting to the demand and agitation for additional states in the country, the former governor said that even though the agitation for more states is legitimate, the creation of states would not solve the multifaceted challenges bedeviling the country. This is still the news at noon on 24 News Radio and Television. To come our news from the foreign scene and the world of sports. Do stay with us. Glad to know that you're still there. If you're just joining us, this is the news at noon on 24 News Radio and Television. Over now to the foreign scene. Gambia reported an outbreak of mpox with the detection of a single case as several nearby countries have recorded recent increases in infections. Mpox remains an international health emergency, the World Health Organization director said last month amid a rise in West Africa. The ministry said it was actively looking for cases, carrying out contact tracing and community engagement to prevent the disease spread. The ministry also disclosed that sequencing is being carried out to determine the virus subtype in the Gambia. From January to late May of this year, nearby Sierra Leone recorded a total of 3,350 cases, including 16 deaths. Liberia had some 71 active cases in early June, according to its National Public Health Institute. Meanwhile, Guinea reported last week that the number of cases within its border since the disease was detected since last this September had surpassed 200. WHO says thousands of cases have also been recorded in this year across DR Congo, Uganda, and Burundi. Civil society and opposition groups in Eswatini has expressed outrage after the US deported 5 men to the country, with the largest opposition party calling it human trafficking disguised as a deportation deal. The men from Vietnam, Jamaica, Laos, Yemen, and Cuba were flown to the country an absolute monarchy last week as the US stepped up deportations to third world countries after the Supreme Court cleared them last month. A spokesperson, Tabil Duli, noted the government estimated the 5 men would be slightly less or more. She said Eswatini was ready to receive more deportees depending on the availability of facilities and negotiations with the United States. Officials have said the men who were put in solitary confinement were safely imprisoned in Eswatini. They have, however, refused to disclose the terms of the deal, but said the US was footing the cost of keeping the men locked up and that they would work with international organizations to deport them to their home countries. Deloitte has warned that the European Union's current sustainable aviation fuel policies could unintentionally weaken the competitiveness of European airlines and slow progress towards decarbonization. A new study by Deloitte for Airlines for Europe raised concerns that the refuel EU mandate, which requires increasing the use of sustainable aviation fuel, may drive passengers towards non-EU carriers and destinations that are not bound by the same environmental regulations. The report warned that these could result in carbon and business leakage, undermining both climate goals and market fairness. Deloitte estimated the refuel EU could increase cost disparities by up to 15% on key EU Asia routes by 2030. The study, however, proposed a SAF book and claim accounting mechanism, which it said could help maintain a level playing ground without raising overall prices for consumers. And from Japan, President Donald Trump says the US has agreed to a massive trade deal with Japan, one of the country's largest trading partners. Japan has agreed to invest $550 billion in the US, while its goods sold to America will be taxed at 15% when they reach the country, below the 25% tariff Trump had threatened earlier. Trump said on social media that Japan would open its economy to US goods, including cars, trucks, rice, and certain agricultural products. Japan's Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba welcomed the announcement, saying it was the lowest figure to date among countries with trade surpluses with the United States. Ishiba said the agreement would mean US tariffs on vehicles and parts would be cut to 15% from 25%. And now from the world of sports. Bayana Bayana of South Africa head coach Desiree Ellis has blamed missed chances for her side's loss to the Super Eagles of Nigeria. The defending champions felt a disappointing 2-1 defeat against the Super Falcons in their semi-final contest at the 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations. Nigeria took the lead through Rasheedat Ajibade, who converted a penalty late in the first half. Linda leveled for South Africa from another penalty on the hour mark. South Africa had chances to win the game afterwards, but were let down by their poor finishing. However, Michelle Alozie broke their heart with a late winner for Nigeria. Ellie said they were desperate to win the game and claim a second consecutive title. South Africa will now battle the Black Queens of Ghana for third position on Friday. And that is a wrap on the news at noon on 24 News Radio and Television. Do stay tuned for more programs will be coming your way. My name is Grace Mwafo. Have a lovely afternoon.
From Abuja to Lagos, Sokoto to Port Harcourt, Enugu to Ilorin, all across Nigeria that will make your day. We are news. We are 24 News